Hi everyone, very good morning. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our editorial analysis. I hope you can hear and see me very clearly, everyone. I hope everything's good. Good morning, very good morning. So, yes, clearly audible and visible. Yeah, very good morning. I have a very interesting article today. We're going to have a lot of fun and laughter reading the article, yet learning many things through the funny, fun-filled, laughter-filled article that I've brought today. So let's see what the source of the article is and let's see what we're going to be doing. Yes, and time feels so short, and everyone who's targeting the December examination, Dia targets the CLAT examination, everyone else targets the CAT examination. We have barely rather not even for 3.5 months left. And just remember, you might think the time is really less for you, but that's not true. You can turn the world upside down if you put in your best foot forward in the forthcoming months. You just need to be very clear with your aim and you need to be streamlined with your efforts. You need to know what is supposed to be done and what is not supposed to be done. Make sure you take your mocks very sincerely, very seriously, because if you don't take your mocks, you might have a problem in getting through the examination seamlessly. Make sure you take your mocks very sincerely. Now let's see what is the agenda of the class today. I brought only one, just a minute. Yeah, so I brought only one article today. The source of the article is Aeon. Like every Thursday, we take up Aeon articles. Today's article is from the Aeon. Not many words, but at least more than what we've been doing in the last few articles. A few more words than usual. We'll try to understand the meanings contextually. Even if we don't know the words, we will try to memorize the meanings according to the context. We will identify the tone, the summary, which is a beautiful one. You'll have fun reading that. And many inferences that could be drawn. Exactly. Yes, roosters. So, okay. Good morning, everyone. So that's the agenda of the class. But before I show you anything, remember our last lab to MHCT is going on. Every day at 9 p.m. we have one session that targets the MHCT examination. Make sure you don't miss out on these sessions. If you haven't seen the older videos, make sure you watch them too. So 1st August onwards, the series has started. Make sure you attend all of the classes live as the last lab to MHCT. Also, if you wish to enroll yourself in any of the CAT programs, this is the program for you that targets CAT 22, where you're trained under the guidance of serial 99 percentilers. You get many mocks, online classroom programs, online assistance, and many more things. Make sure you rush up and enroll in the program right away. This is your way to your dream IIM. Make sure you enroll at the earliest. Hi everyone. Hi Aditya, Swahil, good to see you back. Aditya, you too, roosters. Good morning. Now, I'm going to show you the article that's from the Aeon today. But I'd like to know something from you before we read the article. What do you think, without Googling, what do you think is mischief? What is mischief? What do you think that is? Just a minute. What do you think is mischief? Tell me that. Everyone. Here we go. What is mischief? What do you think is mischief? Because this article talks about mischief. So you have to tell me what do you think about that. If that's clear in our head, understanding the article would become easy for us. Shararat in Hindi, yes, absolutely. In English, what's mischief? And how do you see mischief? Do you see mischief with a negative connotation or a positive connotation? To deceive, but Ankit, deceive comes with a negative connotation. So is the case with mischief as well. Misbehavior, Rahul, that also comes with a negative connotation. Masti in Hindi, okay. Naughtiness, yes, that's a very close word, Sahil. How do you see mischief? With a negative connotation or a positive connotation? Because misbehavior and deceiving someone They certainly come with negative connotations. Mischief comes with a tinge of positivity. Yes, Priya, you're right. No, Rahul. Mischief, although is a negative word, but when you see mischief happening around you, like a child doing mischief, does it make you laugh? It incites a sense of laughter in us, not a sense of betrayal or hurting someone. That's not how we see mischief. It comes with a tinge of positivity, though it aims at ridiculing someone, making fun of someone, but then it comes with a tinge of positivity. That's what the article is about. How you see mischief, positively, negatively, what is mischief, and many more questions are answered in the article. Let's begin with the article. I'll show you the first page. Read the first page and send me a done when you're done. I have eliminated the summary and the gist of the article. Read the page and send me a done. Exactly, Dia. The example that's there about Jeremy Bentham's head being stolen. Can you identify this example as an example of mischief? Can you label this example as a mischief? There's a big lag today in how quickly my video reaches you because the answers are arriving a little late. But nonetheless, we're going to make up for it. Of course, this is mischief. So what they did was, let's understand this page and let's understand a few words here as well. Yeah, this example is mischief. Let's first understand who is a utilitarian. Because when you read articles on political philosophy, you'll find this word a lot of times. So let's understand this word. Utilitarian is a philosophy, an ideology a person has when he believes into the utility of things. So all the decisions taken by that political leader, if he is a utilitarian, they would be based on how much utility an action has. Now, what's utility? If I take an action, how much profitable would it be for the people of the nation instead of, so this is always going to be greater than something that looks very attractive, catchy, beautiful for you. So I'm going to take, this is always going to be greater than attractiveness. Again, if I am a utilitarian, the decisions that I make will be for the utmost betterment of people instead of decisions that might look good but will have no utility. That kind of a philosophy, and a person who follows this philosophy is called a utilitarian. Okay, now let's get back to what this utilitarian philosopher wanted. His will said, after I die, if you make my structure, my bust in a place, my actual head should be placed on the bust. Actual head. His friends thought, this is going to be grotesque. I mean, who would want to look at an actual dead body's head? So his friend said, okay, we're not going to follow his will. Let's put a waxwork head, a head made of wax. But then this is not the story. The story is his actual head was stolen. Who would steal an actual head of a dead body and then ask for money, for returning the head. So basically these college students were, it's a prank that they played against some university rivals and without any intention of hurting somebody. But it's a prank. So can I say a prank is an example of mischief? Yes, this example is. Okay. So ultimately, this is one example that proves what mischief is. I don't think anything else is very tricky here apart from what is utilitarian, who is a utilitarian, and what is grotesque. Grotesque is gruesome, really uneasy to look at, that disturbs you is grotesque. Okay, let's move on and let's read the article furthermore. Read the page and send me a done. Done, everyone? All right. Okay, so we just read an example of mischief, a proper mischief without an intention of hurting someone. Tell me something, how many of you burst crackers in your school washroom, in your school compound, in your college compound? If you've done that, can I label it as mischief? Because you did not want to hurt anyone, burn somebody, but merely while you're in your prayer hall, everyone's praying, and then there's a burst. Everyone knows that one of you have done it, and it's an example of mischief. But when you caught, you punished. That is, mischief is looked at as a form of misbehavior because you were not supposed to behave that way. You violated the conducts of behavior expected out of you, and thus usually it is followed by punishment. If somebody following mischief, you haven't? Oh, that's surprising. You've never done this? Never burst crackers in your college, in your school compound without anyone knowing? Oh, I could teach you the technique of how to do it without being caught. I've done it many times. Towards the end of the class, I'm going to teach you the technique. I'll teach you something else apart from English as well. So back to it. If somebody's caught, you are punished because it is considered with a negative connotation by the authority. But all the students who would hear the firecracker bursting, they would have a laugh. Their hearts would be filled with pleasant memories of school life. That's how you enjoy. So there's a thin line of how mischief is looked at. Some people like authority would look at it negatively. Some would look at it positively as well. Okay, so back to it. Let's understand a few words that I've highlighted here before we go on with understanding the meaning of the remaining paragraph. Apocryphal. Apocryphal is something that's fictitious, that's untrue, that's made up. Another word can be used for apocryphal, another phrase rather, is a hearsay. A hearsay is you've heard it and you've said it. It's like a rumor. But we don't have any fact backing up this rumor, so it's called a fictitious story. So the story that we read in the last page of head being stolen, it was probably a hearsay, a fictitious story. We don't know the authenticity of the story, but we find the stories amusing. It tingles a happy nerve, and we are happy reading. We have a laughter reading all this. So it elicits a certain kind of sympathy in our head. Let's understand elicit with another word, that's illicit. These are homonyms. Okay, Illicit. What is it? The difference between illicit and illicit? Exactly. Illicit is igniting. Correct. Stemming. Oh, certainly I was a very mischievous child. I have very good memories of my school. I took it, roosters. And I'll teach you how to do that as well in your college. I'll get this part of the video edited. Back to it, the difference between illicit and illicit. So as Dia said, illicit is evoking, igniting, to start up something. It ignites, it evokes a certain kind of sympathetic emotion in you. Not hatred, but sympathetic. And probably laughter. Illicit is something that's illegal. So illicit comes from illegal, illicit comes from evoking. That's the difference between the two words. These are homonyms. Do not be confused here. So this is evoking. All right. So it evokes a sympathy in our mind. But then, why does mischief have such a positive response in our mind? That's the question the author is portraying. Now, always remember, if the author portrays many questions in an article, why does he do that? Why does the author put up questions for you to answer in your head? Why does he do that? What can be inferred by looking at such questions? Can I know anything about the tone? Can I know anything about the idea of or the writing style of the author? I can. What is it? So, if there are many questions that the author puts up to us, what is he trying to put up here? What is his writing style? What is his tone here? Why does he do this? That asking questions from you which he is supposed to answer. By putting up questions, the author tries to elicit thoughts in our head. He is trying to analyze something with your help. Yes, Shweta, that's an analytical one. Oh Lord. 1,000 each. Okay. So to make more acquainted and involved in the passage. Yes. So these questions are put up to involve you, to elicit it's like a thought-provoking thing. So when he puts up this question to you, he wants you to think why. And the tone in such articles are usually analytical because he would certainly answer these questions later on. You have to pay attention to these answers because that is what he'll be focusing on. So if there are questions, there will be answers as well. Thought-provoking answers. And thought-provoking is the idea of putting up these questions. So he says, why do we look at these mischiefs positively? And is there something virtuous about these miscreants, these mischievous people? What is virtuous? I taught you the difference between virtue and vice in one of my previous classes. What can be called as virtuous, everyone? What is virtue? When you call somebody virtuous, why do you call him that? We had discussed the difference between virtue and vice. Anyone? Why are no answers coming in? Okay, Bhuvnesh? What is virtue? Who is a virtuous person? Don't Google. We've done this. Virtue is something that's morally right. Okay? So, a person who is virtuous always does things that are morally correct. Ethically correct. Yes. Good behavior. Yes, Chinta, correct. So, I'll do something that will not hurt anyone. Mischief doesn't aim at hurting somebody. Yes, mischief is something, virtue is something that is based on ethically correct things, morally correct things. That's what virtue is. Are these miscreants, are these mischievous people virtuous? We don't know. Let's analyze that. So he says, of course, not all mischief is virtuous, not all mischief is good. Another example here states that these people, in order to create some mischief, they had destroyed some irreplaceable music. This is a musical instrument made by very popular, now formerly very popular musical instrument creator, musician, and his followers. So this was like rare. It was like, have you read this recent news a month back? A man pretending to be an old woman on wheelchair had smudged cake on the actual painting of Mona Lisa. If you've read that, you would know that also is mischief. But is that good mischief? You are destroying a piece of art that's worth, I don't know what value it has. It's actually priceless. So things that are rare, if you are aiming at destroying them permanently, that's a negative mischief. But that's not the article, what the article is referring to. Okay. All right. So let's move on. If you've read the article about Mona Lisa and smudging cake on Mona Lisa, oh, my heart just sank, because I've actually seen the actual Mona Lisa and I've seen the people gathering around it and how much distance there's there. It needed a lot of courage to destroy Mona Lisa, which will never be created because Leonardo da Vinci is no more. So this kind is probably not good mischief. This is negative. But this kind, like burning crackers in your school and stealing a head of a dead body, could be positive mischief. Let's move on and read the next page. Here, read the page and send me a done. It wasn't good, certainly not. And that's the ironical part, Shweta. Just a minute. Now, how does the author look at mischief till this point? Positively or negatively? How does the author look at mischief? Positively or negatively? Absolutely positively, correct. He's, by the end of this paragraph, he says, not all mischiefs can be considered good. Some are negative. You can't universally consider all the kind of mischiefs as good. Every kind of mischief a child does, everyone laughs at the children, right? If says something rude to the parents, we take it lightly because he's still a child. And it's only a part of the mischief he's learning. He would hit somebody, we would probably laugh it off and not take it sincerely. But then, all mischief are not universal, and thus you can't consider all of them negatively. Then he says still. So what did I teach you? When an author contradicts, do you understand? Okay. When I say, I am a very good teacher, but I don't teach every day. Okay. What's important? I being a good teacher or I not teaching every day? The important part is what comes after but. So till this part, he's trying to pacify you that not everything is good, some are bad. And then he says, but still there is a tinge of positivity and admiration that you look with at the miscreants. You consider them to have some distinctive virtues. When you call a miscreant virtuous and you look at them with admiration. What happens after but is an important part. The author looks at it being a positive trait. Okay? So, he looks at it positively. Now, once he makes an argument here that mischief can be looked at positively, he says, here I want to sketch a few of these. Why mischief can be looked at positively. Some paragraphs after this I have eliminated because it is full of examples of how mischief can be positive. One paragraph is still there in the next page that will give you the gist of how mischief can be looked at positively. What positive thing can we get out of mischief? What is virtuous about mischief? Let's understand the next paragraph. Some paragraphs have been eliminated from the middle. Here we go. Read this one. Alright, now have you met people? There are two kinds of people. One who get offended with any kind of joke that's happening to them. They would get angry, they wouldn't like being made fun of or having a jibe at. And then this second category of people who would just laugh, make fun of others, make fun of themselves and just keep laughing. They take life very lightly. They would just be happy and laugh even if you are making fun of them. Does that mean these people aren't suffering at all? Probably not. Everyone has their own share of pain that they're going through, suffering they're going through. Yet these people decide to laugh over it. They would make fun of themselves, an example of mischief. They would make fun of others. The latter one, find something funny. I am those as well. I am a YouTube teacher. I mean, I see so many weird comments coming my way. If I start taking things sincerely, I can't be a YouTube teacher, right? I have to take things lightly. And that's what the category I belong to as well. And that's what all of us should belong to as well. Take life lightly because all of us have our share of pains and struggles. But we need to know that laughter will bring in some solace out of that pain. And that's what the author says. The author quotes two people here, very prominent people. Nietzsche, of course, when we talk about philosophy, Nietzsche is somebody who doesn't go unnoticed or not mentioned. So if you're reading about philosophy, you would know about Nietzsche as well and his political philosophies as well. So Nietzsche says that everyone has their own suffering, excruciating suffering rather, a lot of suffering, tremendous one. Yet they decide to laugh on mischief and create mischief to have a solace out of that pain. So it's a way of finding happiness in the darker elements of our existence. That's why he looks at it positively. Then he quotes another person, that's Hermann Hesse. He says Hermann Hesse clearly called mischief as gallows humor. What gallows humor? Gallows is associated with a negative term. Gallows humor is when you create dry humor in a very a sad situation, a situation that's full of pain and suffering, and then you create humor out of it. Some people might be offended. Why are you creating humor right now that all of us are so sad and disturbed? I mean, if I create some humor, it's like satire. If I create some humor on the Roe and Wade case of the abortion laws, I might actually try to make things, I might know the severity, the seriousness of the situation. Yet, I might joke about it to take things in a light way with a pinch of salt. So, not everything needs to be about taken seriously. That's what the author says. Gallows humor, creating fun, joke in a situation that's grim, without an intention of hurting anyone, to make people suffer less. You know the severity of the situation. Yes, the suffering should be less, and that's what Mischief aims at. And that's why he says there's something that's full of wisdom these miscreants have, these mischievous people have. Do you agree with the author's point of view? How many of you agree with the author's point of view? Any serious situation, and you create some joke out of it. Some people may be offended that, oh, I want to be serious. Something's really bad happening in my life. But you have to be happy about it. Not happy, but you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because probably even worse things are awaiting us. How many of you agree? Dia does. Absolutely. Yes, Swift, you have to do that. Shifali does as well. So does Priya. I think this is more of a life lesson for us to learn through this article. Let's move on to the next page and see what it talks about. Here it is. Read this and send me a done. You will love this page. You know, guys, I am at least good 20 years older than you guys are, and I've seen life more than you guys have. I've seen a huge change in this generation that you guys belong to, and even younger than you guys are. There's a lot of acknowledgement and a lot of awareness that your generation has, which we didn't have, my parents didn't have. Yet, this awareness comes with a lot of seriousness. We need to take things lightly. There are some things that might hurt us and we might not tolerate that. But the list of these things, it has been ever increasing. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like people making fun of this or that. We need to learn to take things lightly. You are pretty young. Life has a lot to offer to you. A lot. Start working and then we would talk. So start taking things lightly with a pinch of salt. Just ignore and stop educating people that you shouldn't be saying this or saying that. And take things with a pinch of salt. That's my wisdom that I'd like to share with you. I mean, your perspective, of course, would be completely different. Do you read this example? I mean, if you go to someone's gravestone and you see written, I told you I was ill, why did you not trust me? You would have laughter. Such a beautiful way of making people recollect the good memories of the dead person instead of going to the grave and shedding a tear or two. This is tremendous. I mean, this example made my heart so full with happiness that if you go to a gravestone of somebody near and dear to you who's no more and you read something of this sort, something funny, you would be remembered of the happy times you've been with them. So this is an example of how even at the time of death, mischief can ease your pain. So probably the author thinks mischief is a very important part of our lives. Yeah, let's move on. Let's read the next page. This one. Very important line. Very important paragraph rather. Ashish, this one is a difficult one. I'll explain this. Okay, let me explain this paragraph. First, let's know the meaning of the words that I've highlighted, okay? When I talk about virtue in a paragraph, I would very likely talk about vice as well. So what did I tell you? Virtue is something that's morally right. Not hurting somebody, not breaking someone's heart. That's virtuous of me. On the contrary, vice is something that's immoral. I'll do something, I'll betray somebody, I'll cheat someone. There are many vices that we have and there are many virtues that we have. Philosophy always focuses on highest degree of virtue and lowest degree of vice in any person. That's what Buddhist philosophy focuses on. So the author says that light-heartedness of mischievous people. Mischievous people don't take things seriously. They laugh on you, they laugh on themselves as well, and they're light-hearted. And that is a sign of they being full of very few vices. There is one human vice, at least one, that they do not have. And that vice is taking any situation with over-seriousness. So the author considers over-seriousness as a vice a person might have. Being overly attached to something is also a vice. Being egotist or egoist or zealot or job's worth, all of these are examples of vices. And since philosophy focuses on minimum amount of vice in a person, the author here calls a mischievous person virtuous. He says they don't have at least one vice, and that vice is taking everything seriously. Mischievous people don't take things over seriously. They take it lightly. Then he says it is the hallmark. What is the hallmark? Taking things lightly. It's the hallmark of people who are not zealot or job's worth. Zealot person. Who are zealot person? Who's going to tell me that? Yeah. Who's going to tell me who is a zealot person? Comes from the word zeal. Zealot comes from the word zeal. So who is a person who is a zealot or a job's worth? Anybody? Okay, I'll tell you. So a zeal is basically too much passion. But a zealot person doesn't know how much passion is needed. He is obsessed with everything correct, everything right, not doing things wrong, overtly passionate and obsessed and fanatical about things being right, following rules. That's what, yes, people who take things very seriously. And Jobsworth are also people who have to follow rules in a dogmatic manner. This is what my religion says, I'm not going to violate this. This is what my culture says, I'm not going to violate it. So Jobsworth and zealot persons, these people are those people who take things too seriously with a fanatical following. That's what zealot and Jobsworth people do. They're crazy. They don't budge at all in any situation. Both the kind of people certainly are unpleasant types. And so is an egotist. So egotist and egoist are two different people, okay? Egoist is whose ego is high. Okay, I am really good and my ego shouldn't be hurt. You shouldn't say something to hurt my ego. Ego is I and me, okay? Whereas an egotist is somebody who's obsessed with his own behavior, who takes oneself very seriously. And he thinks a lot about his own actions and his own outcomes and his own efforts. He takes himself very seriously. Again, egotism is also something that's a very unpleasant type. Mischievous people don't belong to this or this or this category. This paragraph is an explanation why do they not belong to any of the three categories which I have just now explained. Did you understand this paragraph, everyone, now? Ashish, did you? Exactly. The world is all about you and nobody else is egotist. Did you get this page, everyone, now? That a mischievous person doesn't belong to any of the three categories. He isn't a zealot, he isn't a Jobsworth, he isn't an egotist. For obvious reasons, because he doesn't take things very seriously. He takes things lightly. Yes? Okay. Now everyone's got what this page talks about, and thus he explains why being a mischievous person is good for us. We should take things lightly, not being a zealot or a Jobsworth or an egotist or a right wing. Okay, let's move on. So, last two pages. Here, read the page. So, last two pages, we're drawing to a closure of the article. Read both the pages very clearly, very sincerely, and send me a done. Alright. So, this article comes back to the philosophy. He's quoted many philosophers in the entire article. Of course, he would quote Socrates as well. And he says he also was a mischievous person. Now, if you remember one of the previous articles on philosophy that we had done where we had understood the difference between virtue and vice, we also discussed that how philosophy focuses on logic. That any theory, any concept that they come out with, it needs to be logically backed. Philosophy focuses on questioning why, how, and then finding the logic behind that. That's what Socrates did. So he would question, but not question in a usual form of a philosopher would do. Like you and I would sit and talk about why are we there in the world or what happens to us after death. We would talk to each other, we would argue over a drink or two, and then we would become philosophical. But then Socrates didn't do it that way. He showed that he knew nothing. And he would say, okay, tell me more, I am interested. And then he would ask questions to the highest members of the Athenian society. He would ask them questions showing that he's ignorant, he knows nothing. He, of course, knew more than these people did. He was the philosopher we speak about now. But then he would partly ask these questions to know more, but he would also partly ask these questions as an act of mischievousness because he knew the answer already. So he would just ask random questions to have laughter later on and make up stories that, oh, I spoke to these Athenian people and they knew nothing about worship and lordship and philosophy. So he was a mischievous person. So the author is quoting these mischievous people, the prominent ones like Nietzsche or Socrates, to show that mischief is a part and parcel of life that would make things light in your head. Let's read the next page. I hope this page is clear to you. It was an example. The last paragraph. Let's see if there's a conclusion here. Simple. What is the conclusion the author draws here? Answer this question. What is the conclusion the author draws here? Or what is the conclusion you draw here? I'm waiting for your conclusion. Mischief is good. It's necessary. What we know today is probably because of mischief. Mischief will make our life better. All of that is the conclusion the author draws here towards the end. It's a closure that he gives, that mischief is necessary. It makes life easy for us. There's less suffering towards the end. That's the conclusion the author draws here. So you now know the gist of the paragraph. Your homework. Your homework, of course, is writing down the tone of the author under my video in the comment section. Did you love the article, everyone? Did you have fun reading this? If you've had fun reading this, make sure you comment under my video if you have learned things through this article, if you've loved the article, if you've loved the effort that I've put in skimming through many articles to find good one for you. Make sure you don't leave the video without liking the video, sharing the video with your friends. Why don't you guys share it? Come on, share it into the groups that you are in, your college groups. Tell them how what a good job Alpa ma'am is doing. Give me this favor and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Exactly, Chinta. We don't have science and philosophy, so mischief is necessary. Yes, Diya, you're right as well with your gist. So your homework, write down the tone under my video in the comment section. Chinta, this is the latest article that's there in Aeon.com. Aeon.co rather. I'm writing the website's name in the chat box right now. See, I've written the name of the article in the chat box. Okay, so you could the name of the website in the chat box. You could follow that website. You can read many articles. I would highly recommend you read at least 2 articles every week. Yeah, I'll do that today. Okay, and everyone, so I'll see you next Tuesday. I'll bring an article on. I'll rather bring a case study. I've already found that. I'll bring a case study on Tuesday on economics. So that's going to be a very interesting class. Don't miss out on that. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind, everyone. Read, work hard. Don't go out on a long vacation. Many long vacations are awaiting you after CAT is done. So that is all, everybody. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, and download our app on Google Play. Thank you so much, everyone. Jai Hind. Have a very good day. God bless you.